Welcome to the Crossroads Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? It's your man, Hunter Grand, your personal agent for change, making life easy, Barzini.
And I'm fempreneur extraordinaire, tech diva all day, Dre Renee.
And this is the Crossroads, where there's only one rule.
Be free to be you.
We back like we never left.
Like we never left.
I don't know how much they're going to believe that, though.
I know. It's been a ride.
Right. I mean, we ain't been gone. We've been doing the lives, but we back to the pre-record for the new season, the new look. I mean, it still kind of looks the way that it looked before. But a lot of planning has gone into this season, a lot of life change,
Yes.
a lot of shifting,
And a lot of love.
and a lot of love.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're excited about moving forward. We thank y'all. You know what I'm saying? The Roadies and RoadDawgs is back like they never left, because they ain't never left. I was getting
Shout
messages
out
yesterday.
to y'all. Absolutely. To the Roadies and the RoadDawgs. You have been down.
Yeah,
Stay around.
I got pressed yesterday. Like, y'all said.
I know.
I was like, yes, we are. Like,
Just
but
wanted to be the best. And also, wanting to deliver, episodes on episodes on episodes. It's not fun to give you a few and then it's like, where'd they go?
Yeah. It's work, y'all. It's work.
It is.
And you got to make room for life, and everything else. But I can say that I am proud that we haven't given up. Like there's a lot of pods that have been lost in the shuffle since, and we haven't. You know why? And you know why? It's not like, y'all, we do this because we love to do this. Like if we were doing this for free, which we are not.
Which we have been, but
Yeah, we have been, but we not here for play.
Right.
But I will say, all things being considered, if when people ask that question, like, oh, if you had everything you wanted, like, what would you wake up and do? I would still do this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If I had not a financial worry, I mean, I don't have a financial worry now, but like just the abundance that I'm working towards and manifesting.
Right.
If it were already here the way that I envision it, I would still
choose this.
do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
That's why. What would you do?
I would do this as well.
I mean, what else? I know you do this. What else would you do?
Oh, what else would I do? Travel. I would do this, but I guess I would still have the same backdrop, but I'd definitely be somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be out on a balcony somewhere, a beach or something,
But that's the plan. That was part of the vision, where we are remote from somewhere.
Yeah, wherever.
From different spots. We're gonna be on location.
Yeah.
Well, we calling that into existence right now.
Put it in the air. Yes, absolutely.
All that. Yeah, that.
No, hey, yeah.
Exactly. You know what I mean? But before we get into everything that's been kind of going on and today's show, we got to pay these bills because this ain't free, right?
It ain't free. And we need you guys to know that. It ain't free.
And so this season, there's going to be some things that you're going to find out, you know what I'm saying? But it's all good because y'all have had us. I know y'all still got us. So y'all, as always, the Crossroads Podcast is brought to you by the House of 334.
It's the house.
For all your business branding and copyright needs, go to house of334.com. It is Black owned, it is woman owned, it is Black woman owned, and it is amazing. And make sure you move quickly because the house does fill up fast. Hey, the house is kind of strong too. You know what I'm saying? Like that foundation is, you know what I'm saying? The house, exactly. The house ain't falling. But y'all, the Crossroads podcast is also brought to you by the Crossroads. Y'all can go to our bit.ly to do find out everything that we do. That's bit.ly/the Crossroads. That's THEXROSSROADZ. Our email, our links, our social media, everything is at our bit.ly. So make sure you go there to follow us on everything we do. And if you want to contribute to the Crossroads, y'all, as always, we are so thankful for those who continue to donate to the show. This is a labor of love, but love ain't free. And if you think it is, go tell your landlord that you love them. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely appreciate all those who contribute to keep this thing going, and we are growing. Not only are we still going, but we are about to grow, and we appreciate and will be asking for even more support that you've been giving us. So yeah, we appreciate y'all. Roadies and RoadDawgs, our day ones, now our year fours.
Look at that.
That's crazy, huh?
Year 4. That's actually really, a good segue to, talk about what we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
This is a welcome for some of you. It's a welcome back for many of you. But the Crossroads, is 4 years old.
Yeah.
It's 4 years old. Just about. We're right, like a little.
Yeah. Well, we started
before, but
right, we started around this time, and then we made the announcement. I believe it was in the fall.
It was in the fall.
Right.
It was like we started mid-October. I want to say like October 15th.
And then we officially dropped in November.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we made the announcement. We did some lives and then episodes. So
yeah.
Oh.
Do you remember how that started? Do you remember?
I do. I do.
Take us back down memory lane.
So
from
my perspective. Yeah. So the Crossroads started long before the cross. Okay, so let's start with the name, right? Yeah. So the Crossroads has been around for over 20 years.
Come on, Crossroads. Got roots.
Right, it's got roots. So the Crossroads started with as an open mic that I did with my frat brother at his barbershop. Mm-hmm. So we decided to do an open mic night at the barbershop. This is when the poetry scene was popping. I had no, I didn't have the crew yet. So I didn't have the crew, but we called the event the Crossroads, right? And so the slogan then was where the mouth meets the mic and frees the mind, right? So we had people coming every week and filling the shop up, and we had and it was dope. And you had the candles lit and everything else.
It was a time.
Right. It was a time. So later, I had a vision that I wanted to put together a crew of poets, and I wanted to do a tour. So I didn't know how to do it. Listen, y'all, I had no money, but I was a hustler. So I was like, I have this vision. I want to make it happen. So I did. I was going around the city. I was going to open mics, and I was just meeting dope artists and dope poets. And I was like, hey, I'm putting a team together. You know what I'm saying? And it was pretty much like the Avengers of poetry, and so we started going around places. And what I did is I used my Greek affiliations to do the tour. I did a college tour. And so because they can get the venues on campus for free, I had organizations sponsor the event for free. They did all the promo on campus. We showed up, did the shows, and that's how I did the tour. Yeah. And then people started seeing us, and I started networking, and then started getting paid. And so I started paying my artists, And so many of them now are doing big things and still getting paid. And they always like hit me up every now and again, like, man, you the first person we ever worked with that got us paid for our artistry. So I was like, wow. So some years later, Dre and I were talking about the possibility of doing the show. And this podcasting wasn't all the rage yet. We were having this conversation like years prior, and it just kind of didn't manifest. And it was mostly me. I was like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, blah, blah. She was already on Periscope doing stuff. Like, this is how far back. She was already turning the camera on and speaking to the world. And I was like, So then a friend of our mutual friend of ours had started doing a show during the pandemic. It was like in the middle of the day, like in the middle of the afternoon, and I was a guest on the show, promoting my first book, Hello Me, Nice to Meet You. And so with the conversation just kind of, was going and going and going, and people were chiming in, and then all of a sudden they started adding people to the call. I don't know if it was the first week or the second week that you were added. So they added Dre to the call, and we had this great conversation and stuff like that. And then I was like, you know what? We need to do a podcast. Like, no, like it was this bright idea, like right? like we hadn't been talking about this, right? And so we were talking about doing it with well, actually, no, I was talking with her at first, and then I was like, you know what? If I don't tell Dre, she is going to kill me, because she's been talking about this forever, and I can't do this without my best friend. So I was like, hey, so we had the conversation. The three of us were having a conversation. Our other friend had some other visions of things that she wanted to do. So she was out. So because we were like, hey, we're gonna move forward. Like, this is going to happen. Yeah. But because it was born on your conversations on what you were doing, like, hey, and so just God did what he did, and it was like, hey, here's this thing that y'all had years ago, came full circle. So we went into the planning and the production meetings and was taking courses, because listen, y'all, we didn't know anything about podcasting, other than like, hey, turn and what really pushed us was her motto, just turn the camera on. She's been saying that for years, just turn the camera on. And so that's what we did. We turned the camera on, and we decided to learn as we go, instead of trying to just be this polished show out the gate, because if we did that, we would still be planning. Right. If you live,
there's always something to learn. There's always something changing. There's always something to add. And so, yeah, you would just be sitting around.
Right. We started on Zoom,
Yep.
But it went great. We reached out to people. We had 100 subscribers before we even aired our first show. Like, people were just on board. And then it kind of went from there. We were learning, and then because we were investing in ourselves. And when we were taking courses, we were finding out we were ahead of the people that was teaching the course.
Right.
They were like, yeah, you need to do this and do this. I was like, oh, we already did that. Oh, we got that. Oh.
Yeah. And it was confidence building too, because you feel like, oh, I'm new to this space. Maybe I don't know. And when you're given that feedback, and you know that you've either already had those ideas, they're in progress, or you've done them, then it makes you speed up. Like, okay, let me go ahead and press in that direction. And so it was a lot of fun. I mean, we had nothing but time because we were in the thick of things during the pandemic. And then we added the live component, right? So we were doing the pre-records and releasing episodes every week. And then we decided once a month to do a live version where we would recap the episodes and perhaps talk about something that was going on in the world. And one of the biggest things that was going on during that time were versus battles. Yeah, so we've done a couple episodes on that, or anything like limited series that were coming on, the streaming networks, those things that everybody was tuned into, right? So we covered a lot of that. And then, of course, we spent a lot of time talking about relationships. That's really what. Yeah. No matter how many of you talk about, another relationship podcast, you tune into them, right? That's what you all want to talk about. We scroll Facebook. That's what all the statuses were about. So we just leaned in that direction. We definitely did.
And if y'all still want to talk about it, you can still submit your questions. So send your questions to the email, and we'll respond to them on the show. You know what I mean? So it's crossroadspodcast@gmail.com. Listen, and not only that, send your stories, right? If you want to remain anonymous, that's perfectly fine. But y'all send us your stories. That's Crossroads Podcast. That's XrossroadZ podcast at gmail.com. And we want to share your stories. We want to respond and react to them. You may not like what we say, but
you may.
But you
may not like what one of us says.
And by one of us, she means hey, listen, I don't. You know what? But that's how we became friends. That's why we're friends. Right. You know, I get it. I think I've gotten better.
Oh, absolutely. You're not a bad person. I can make that kind of joke, but right. I guess I should be serious for those who do not know you. Right, you're not a bad person. You know, sometimes it's the thing that you need to hear, even when you don't want to hear it. Even if it's not something that you agree with, it is always an enlightened viewpoint. It's a well thought out viewpoint. Like, I've never heard him just talk. Even if that's what people may feel like he's thought about it. Like, there's rationale. If he feels you're worthy of getting that, he'll give you the rationale. Sometimes it just is what it is, and that'll be that. But you know, I have always experienced him as being someone that is a deep thinker and not afraid to stand on his own values, principles, thoughts, beliefs, even if he's in the minority or even if he's the only one. And so I think that's great. You know, in this world, we need people who think and not just follow the pack. And so, like you said, that's one of the many reasons that we are friends. We've had a million conversations. Like, I can, if I had $1 even for the conversations we had since we started this podcast, that we've been like, hey, we should have cut the camera on. Like, literally, we should record everything that we talk about. We have to figure this out, like on our phones, like how to capture, because it's always something that's really, really good, something for you to think about, chew on, maybe talk about in your circles. And that's the beauty of the Crossroads. I was thinking in the beginning, right? Like, not every girl has a guy best friend. And so let me share mine with the world type situation. That's how it started, in talking about relationships. And then, you know, we went on a journey. We had guests, single, married, divorced, single parents, you know, dating, all of that. We talked celebrities. And so we talked about different parts of relationships or dating or getting ready to get back out there, that type of thing. We did go through quite a few celebrity scenarios and tried to really just tie it into what does this look like in everyday life, like for your average person like me or you. And we had a blast. I think one of our, or it might be our final episode of season 1, was like sex and religion, which everybody had something to say about that. And so I'm very proud of what we did in season 1 and how we showed up for that. As I mentioned, even with the lives, we started to do those more frequently. So in between season 1 and 2, we've done a lot of weekly and sometimes multiple times in a week, just depends on what was going on in the world, talking through pop culture, generally landing around relationships mostly, but also just, you know, things that were going on in the world. And we saw some crazy things, from the young lady who claimed to see the baby, you know, walking down the Carly Russell, I remember her name now, right? That to, you know, Cat Williams breaking the internet on Club Shay Shay. Like, you know, anytime it was something big that everybody was talking about, we got excited because a lot of you would then send us messages like, I know y'all will talk about that. Mm-hmm. And so we jumped into that space. And so now, you know, after doing a lot of living in the past 4 years, as I'm sure all of us have done, meaning you as our community as well, things are different in our worlds, in our lives, in our careers, in our relationships. You guys, if you're with us on the journey, you saw me be engaged to actually be married to, I'm 2.5 years in at this point, which is crazy. It's like, I remember we were just preparing for this. Yeah. So my perspective is different even than what it was in season 1. Not a lot, because, I was getting ready to be in the marital space, but now being there, I have a different understanding, right? Living with a man all day. Every day.
Y'all, I'm not crazy, and I don't. Hold up. I know I'm not crazy, y'all. But if y'all see me clap at this damn neck, because I know y'all see this.
What is happening over there?
Listen, she's talking, and I'm like, I'm trying to track, and then again, and I'm like, I'm gonna get this.
Have mercy, squirrel.
Right? No, I'm there. But for those of y'all who are listening to us on our audio platforms, if y'all just hear random clapping.
Right.
I'm trying to kill his neck because it's gonna drive me nuts. But yeah, so no, we've definitely grown. One, I love you. So
I love you too.
That whole, but this definitely hasn't been a one-sided friendship with me just talking to Dre. She's definitely given me the business over the years. But it's a friendship to where you're not only learning about each other, but you learn about yourself, right? When you have friends, when you have a relationship where you can be honest, right? Yeah. And you can be vulnerable and tell the truth. Like, I don't hide things that I feel from my friends. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I definitely want to make sure they had the bandwidth, you know what I mean? Because it's just different now. Like, and I think that's like the evolution of the friendship. Before it was, hey, come through, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna either have tacos or some snacks and watch like 3-hour epics because I love
I like this.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, pause. You scream. And mind you, we playing these movies on VHS at the time.
That part. So then we got to rewind. It's not like track. Go to the track one, track no.
Hey, when I got a DVD player, I came up. But yeah, no, we go back to VHS. But then you grow, life changes, and now your best friend is a married woman. So even though we still have that open line of communication, there's also those boundaries, right? And so it's respecting the fact that she has a husband who is her responsibility and obligation. And so when I go and talk to these things, you got to make sure that she has to make sure she has the bandwidth for that, right? Because she has a whole household that she has to have the bandwidth for first, right? And I just want to say this, like, man and woman alike, don't be that friend that gets mad because there's a shift. Like you get in a relationship and you all of a sudden different. Yeah, you're supposed to be. That's kind of how this goes. You know what I'm saying? And you have to put yourself in the shoes of a person that's in a relationship, and you would want that kind of space and respect. And if you're giving the same credence or priority to your friendships as you are your marriage or your partner, it's a problem, right? Like, you don't forget your friends, but like, hey, I'm trying to build this over here. You know what I mean?
And that's a very real thing. And what I think we are looking forward to getting into this season is the how-tos, right? Like the practical, what does that even look like? And the fact that, you know what, I'm not perfect at it. There's some days I have to be reminded, like this weekend, I told you, I was like, hey, gotta go tend to some things.
All right. I'll talk to you in a minute.
Right. Yeah. And thank God for the friendship where you can do that. And you have a friend that says, I concur. That's what you should be doing versus making it harder for you to make that kind of decision. So, we have grown up together, and we're still growing up together. And so the season 2 and beyond of the Crossroads podcast is really life, right? Like life as Gen X and the Xennial what are we doing and how are we doing it? You know, some days we got it and some days we don't got it.
And so it's crazy. So I was having a Gen X conversation just today with Jen.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
yeah, yeah. So
I mean, if she happens to watch,
right.
it's been a long time.
Yeah, I'll tell her when we gave her a shout out. She might tune in. She busy as I don't know what. But
Okay.
no, we were talking about like just how life is now versus when we came up. Specifically, like we were talking about whoopings, right? Like,
Mm.
you know, and so the conversation is like, do we believe in whoopings? Like, and I don't know if it's Gen X that believes in whoopings as much as baby boomers. I think Gen X is that we got
Yeah,
toe up.
no, Gen X, you're right. I was gonna say Gen X changed it, right? It's
Mhm.
like, okay, we got beat with the hot, what is it, Hot Wheel tracks and the switches
Uh-huh.
and
And the
like
switches
y'all
and
got
the
all those stories. So
extension
then when
cord.
you had babies, you was like, I'm not doing that to my kid. And now,
Mhm.
now look.
And so, but it's been a couple of conversations. I'm gonna say this. This is where I feel Gen X has gone wrong in this, especially working in education and seeing how it plays out. We lost balance, right?
Mhm.
Now, baby boomers raised us with the speak when spoken to. You don't talk back, like you don't say anything at all. You ain't allowed to have feelings, basically. Like, oh, you mad? Like, yeah, you just
Mhm.
beat me up. Hmm.
Right. Yeah, I'm real mad.
Yeah,
I'm big mad.
right, but you can't show it, you know. And so I don't think we recognize or acknowledge the trauma, right? And so I remember telling my dad, he was like, "Oh, well, I whooped you, and look how you turned out. You turned out fine." I was like, "Yeah, but I didn't need that, though."
By the grace of God, right?
You know what I'm
That's true
saying?
too, right? Like the type of kid, some of us as children were like, I could have dealt with just a stern talking to or knowing that I disappointed you. Now I didn't get a lot of whippings
Mhm.
because I was that kind of kid. Like if my parents looked at me a particular way or expressed like I'm really
Mhm.
disappointed in you, that broke my heart. And I'd
Yeah,
be like, oh, I'm not.
right. And so I wouldn't say I got whoopings. I got my fair share of whoopings, right?
Mhm.
It wasn't a few. It wasn't a lot
A
overboard,
lot,
but I
right.
got I got I got toe up, right? More than my brother did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, by my dad. My mom got my brother. My dad got me, right?
Uh-huh.
Because my brother's just more like my mom. I'm more like my dad. So you already
Mhm.
know like how that works. But he was like, when he told me, he was like, "Oh, like look how you turned out." I was like, "Yeah, but I'm not grateful for not one of them. There's not a whooping you can name. I'm not grateful for that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never went and thanked my dad for whooping my behind growing up because he didn't need to. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
As my parent, yes, I think he felt like I did some things, but I did not fear my father. I revered my father. And
Mhm.
me disappointing him hurt me way more than any whooping
Oh
could.
yeah. Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so I got a lot of lectures. The lectures, I'm like, can you just whoop me, please? Like I was like, but I was like, the lectures, I'm sitting there crying. Like if I come out the room and one of my friends is there after I got spoken to, what happened? You got a whooping? No. What did he do? He
He talked
talked
to
to
me.
me. But my soul was hurt, right? And so they was like, that's it. But
Yeah.
you know, and now I'm not saying that I'm against whoopings though, right? I'm against the whoopings as a standalone, as an end all be all, as a knee jerk, and absent a lesson. The thing that I'm grateful for my father is I don't remember of all the whoopings that I'm not grateful for, and I don't thank him for. I am thankful and grateful for the lesson that came with it because he never ever whooped me without talking to me or teaching me either before
Mhm.
or after.
Right.
Usually,
Right.
I was more appreciative of the after, the before. Like, come on, bro, can we? I'm getting a lecture and a whooping.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yes.
overkill,
That's how that went. That's
you
how
know.
that went.
But
Yeah.
it was always like a calm conversation. I guess he exercised the demon. I don't ever remember maybe once getting a whooping when he was angry with me, but I don't remember ever him being angry. And I think
Mhm.
that's the difference. And my brother taught me that lesson because we were on the phone and his son did something and he sent him to his room. And I was like, wait, you ain't gonna whoop his ass, like, and he was like, nah. I was like, what? He was like, not right now. I was like, why? He's like, because I'm mad right now. He's like, I don't want. And so this is what y'all have to remember. If you are hitting a child, number one, that cannot defend themselves, hitting a child in anger, you're fighting them. That's not discipline.
Mm.
You're fighting because if I have an altercation with an adult and I'm angry and right, and you've seen me there, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's fighting. That's not that's not discipline. You know what I mean? And so and you might be wrong.
Yeah.
I've gotten some whoopings where I didn't do the thing that you're saying that I did, but because I'm not allowed to speak,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Gen X, if once you're in trouble, that's it. You don't get to explain.
Yeah.
If the school called, the school was right. If your teacher called, whatever your teacher said, that was it. You did it.
Yeah.
No questions asked. And if you didn't do it, she shouldn't have mistaken you for it because you was too close to whatever happened.
Right.
So,
Right.
you
Yeah. So we're building a community of all the folks that's trying to get over their trauma. That's
Hey,
basically what this is.
yeah,
we work it through. And okay, because I know we have some baby boomers that watch and rock with us frequently. Like, you got to be able to laugh. Okay, because, and especially our parents, because our parents do watch this as well. You got to be able to laugh.
I'm gonna get a phone call after this episode.
Yeah,
boy, you know I know.
You gotta be able to laugh, because the reality is, no, we may not go and say thank you for, a whooping, or thank you for this, but in totality, I am thankful for the way that my parents raised me. Especially considering how old they were. No, they weren't teenage parents. They were like, they were in their 20s, but still, like, I think about myself in my 20s. I'm like, I couldn't have done any of what you did. So considering that they were young adults, and they were navigating their own lives and their own traumas. Hello, because we can talk about what, was passed down to us, but it was passed, right? Because they had it. So trying to figure out, having being raised by what would have been, I think, like the silent generation, right? Like, whatever came with that. And so then raising a child and children and starting careers and doing all the grown-up stuff, and maybe not having all the tools, right? With those of us who are first children, or some might be only children, right? We're the experiments. And so maybe by the second or the third, they got into a rhythm, and we like, well, when it was me, all of that kind of stuff happened. But like, when I say have a sense of humor and be able to laugh, is because I think, for the most part, at least I'll say for Barzini, like, we understand. Now, there are some, of our peers that didn't get the love and the lessons behind it, right? And so we know that we are going to be talking to some people and some traumas that we didn't experience directly, or that we don't necessarily have an understanding of. And so that's when we want to invite experts, and we want to invite those of you who have overcome or who understand, to either email us, your questions, your situations, as he mentioned, or even come on and be guests, so that we can walk through this thing together. And so we're going to, of course, be talking about dating, marriage, divorce, parenting, or not, because here we are in a particular part of life, and neither of us have children. And so it's a very real thing. Like,
that's a topic too.
It is. Yeah. It's like parenting or not. Health and fitness, there are things that we want to do and see. and be around for. And so we got to take care of our bodies. And I know that we're not the only ones in the struggle with that. Finances, careers, business ownership. That's something that we have in common. And we know that there are many of you, maybe you want to know how to start your own podcast. You want to know how to start your own business. Is it worth it? Should I just keep working for somebody? Right? Like those
and
are
if
the
you don't know, take our class that will be coming.
Yes.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. Parenting our parents. Okay, that's a thing. And when I say our, not necessarily his and mine, though that is has been a thing for me. But grief and loss, that's a thing I think for everybody. We've all experienced it in some form or fashion. Spirituality, friendship, and everything in between. Just trying to remain sane.
Right.
And I think about it, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to God, because I'm like, wow, just to recall the things I've been through just in the past year. I shouldn't even be on here talking to you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just
things that happen today.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
We'll talk about that in the near future, but y'all, there are events that have transpired today.
Like right before we clicked the button. I found out right before we clicked the button.
Right.
No. Should we not click the button? But that's another lesson, and just kind of bringing our full selves, or as much as we can, to this space, right? Like even in the midst of stuff, that we're here because the community that we want to build, some of you are already a part of. You're going through things every single day, and you are still showing up in your families, in your relationships, on your jobs. And so we want to partner with you and get through this thing together.
And
so
you know what?
That's season 2.
Yeah. And I think it's comforting to know that there's a space that you can come to find out there are other people going through the same thing. We can go, we walk this life and we navigate through this life a lot of times feeling like we're the only one going through that thing that we're going through, and we're the only one. And even if sometimes you are experiencing something similar, sometimes the feeling is, oh well, you didn't experience it the way that I'm experiencing it. You know what I mean? And that's not always true. Like, yes, we're all individuals. Yes, it may feel different. Yes, the reaction and the response and the impact may vary, but then sometimes not. You know what I mean? And sometimes there could be somebody to help hold your hand and be empathetic and understand, because they've experienced it too. You know what I mean? And so we want to share that. We want to hear, like, if you have questions on how to cope, if we've both experienced loss on different levels or different plane, but I know probably the greatest grief of loss that I've experienced was losing my godmother, who was like a mother to me. And so Dre's had lost. I don't want to share her experience, but like, it's a lot has happened, y'all. A lot has happened. And so our community is somewhere truly, like, y'all, yes, this is a business. Yes, we want to grow this and we want it to prosper, but we are building a community, right? And so this is a place where we want you to come and share and feel safe and feel comfort, and support and empathy and, all those things, but also get what you need to be able to move forward, right? It's like, we gonna hug you and then we're gonna smack you on the ass and be like, all right, now go get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, go get them, Tiger. And then next week, come on back. You know what I'm saying? And come get your hugs. And then, all right, get them, you know what I mean? And so I think life has taught us that, like, sometimes it's a hug we need. Sometimes it's a kick in the ass. And, when you have friends that can do both, and you don't know which one you're gonna get. Right. I had an experience a few months ago where I was just broken. And I'm on the phone with Dre, And just mid conversation, she just stopped the conversation. She didn't say stop. She just broke out and started praying.
Mhm.
Um, and like, do you have a friend like that? You know, we all have, and I've been the friend, like, depending on, yeah, I've done the what. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Depending, but do you have the friend that's not going to always just what? That's crazy. Do you have the friend that'll break out in prayer? Right? Do you have the friend that'll pull up? You know, if they're able to. Do you have the friend that'll sing what's needed? Do you have the friend that knows how to give you space? Do you have the friend that'll ask your bandwidth before they unload?
Mhm.
You know, do you have the friend that'll hold you accountable? Like when you tell them that story and you mad and angry and they go like, right? You know, you see that face right there? That's the face. That's the face she makes too. Like, you know, or even Maisha, like her favorite line to me is, okay, first of all, you're stupid. You know,
I can hear.
yeah. And so, like, listen, sometimes it's time to be a cheerleader. Sometimes it's you got to take the cheerleader hat and be honest, because you are not helping your friend by lying to them. If they're wrong, they're wrong. Don't sit there and say, oh, that's they loss, blah, 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 blah. They don't know what they, listen,
Mm-mm.
if you know your friend ain't about nothing, you know because like I think, and sometimes we have that friend that'll be like, what? And they get all your business, and then they over with the other friend. Hey, guess what happened? Such, right?
Mhm.
That's not helpful, you know. And don't be that friend, but also you got to know who you have in your circle, right? And it's important to know, are your friends listening to you to help you or for the tea, right?
Mhm.
Like, when you're venting or you're sharing, are they just listening? And sometimes sometimes it's just that, hey, it's just an ear. But do they ever offer something constructive,
Right.
whether it's your side or the other? Did you leave with something that was helpful to the situation, or did you just give the tea? And sometimes a lot of it is just tea. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And and you can keep it to yourself. If it's just tea, a lot of times you can keep that to yourself, because usually if nothing is ever offered helpful, they're likely running telling somebody else.
And
And
is that even a friend? My God.
yeah,
Is
no,
that? Yeah.
yeah, no. And I don't know, like that. Why are we so enthralled? And this is probably not the right thing to say, having a podcast, but people are so enthralled with the tea. Why do people?
Yeah. I mean, people want to know. I think I heard Tim Ross say it. Shout out to B Side and the
Mhm.
Basement Crew. Talked about like Wheel of Fortune, um, how that concept in that game show, of course, has been so long running and why it will continue. And I was like, I wonder what he's talking about. So I turned it up. And it's that people always want to fill in the blanks,
Mm.
right? Like that concept of like that unknown piece there. And I was like, that's actually pretty profound, because no matter what you're doing, right? You can
Mhm.
scroll on Facebook and we've seen those we've seen those puzzles that look like it's supposed to be something else, and we're like,
Mhm.
it better not be what I think it is, type
Mhm.
situation. But whether you're doing on Facebook or even if you happen to be flipping channels, most of us will stop to try to guess the puzzle, because we want to know,
Mhm.
solve the mystery, if you will. Those of us who do like true crime shows or murder mysteries or that type
Mhm.
of thing. So I just think that's like human nature, to be inquisitive, nosy, just want to
Judgmental.
know.
Yeah.
That too, right?
Mhm.
And just want to know. But that's not where we are here. We want to not even necessarily know, because sometimes even with us, I'll say like, if you don't want to share like what it is, I'm really more interested in like how you are or what you feel like. what can I help with, or what can I listen to that won't cause you to feel worse, right? Like, so if you feel some kind of way, like I need to process this on my own for now, and I'll share later. Like, we have those spaces too. And then also, of course, you can just pour it out however you feel, and you don't have to dress it up in a particular way. And so it is good to have friends like that. Again, blessed that we do, because we understand that not everyone does. And so we want to welcome you here to the Crossroads, to share your ideas, to share your thoughts, to share your questions. And we're going through this together. We don't have all the answers, right? We'll try to give you some. We'll give you some things based on what we've learned, some on what we're going through at that point in time, and some is like our best guess, or it might really be a prayer. Okay, we just be like, look, let's just stop.
We just gotta pray for that one,
because we don't know. But overall, we're excited about what we're creating in terms of community. We are also going to launch a membership. So there's an opportunity, for you, of course, to tune in and hear the podcast. And then we're going to have spaces where we're growing together in a small community for a monetary investment. Now, what that entails, of course, is more access to us, more content, but also you have the opportunity to help us grow this thing. And that's really what's most important. If you have found value in what it is that we've done over the past 4 years, or you're watching this episode and you're like, they're really about to do it. We want to invite you, when we roll that out, to be a part of the ground level and support this pod, support this community, support this movement, support Crossroads as a brand. That's really what the membership does. And then in return, of course, we want to work closely and commune with you as well. So I just wanted to put that out there because we're excited about it.
Yeah,
we're excited about it.
And a transparent moment, y'all, it doesn't always feel that way. Like, people will watch the show and we get the most amazing feedback. We always hear like, oh, y'all are on to something. And people are watching that we don't know are watching. Like, our subscribership does not reflect our reach. It really doesn't.
Hey, South Africa.
Yeah. Listen, my South Africa chain. And so, y'all, that's a reference. If you weren't with this in season 1, we actually reached the top 100 on Apple Podcast in South Africa. I think what was it, like in the 70s, something like that?
Yeah.
Like 70
something.
Yeah. So we were top 100. I was like, whoa, they out there listening to us in South Africa. So I say that to say, like, it's you, and I've said it before, you don't know who's watching, you don't know who's listening. And sometimes it just feels like we're just on here talking and have a good time as friends. Yes, we've grown as podcasters. If from the early episodes, it's so much different, y'all. We're night and day.
I wouldn't say night and day, but we got our sleek on. It's sleeker.
Well, no, I ain't talking about necessarily the look. I'm talking about like our chops.
Oh, okay. I was
Nah. But you hear it, and sometimes there are other people that see things in you that you don't see in yourself, right? There are sometimes when you impact people in ways that you are not aware of. And so it's something that you have to be cognizant of, like your reach, your influence. You don't know who's looking up to you, and that's like, it creates joy, but it's also scary, because it's a responsibility. You don't want to mess up, you know what I mean? And so we never want to give you anything out of ego. We never want to give you anything just to sound good. Everything that we share, we're sharing from the heart, from the spirit. And we're not always right. We're human, you know what I mean? But our heart is always going to be in a place of help on this show. So, that's what's the business. You know what I'm saying?
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Excited.
And like I said, I'll be honest. I say I was nervous about. I don't know why we've been doing this for years, and I was like, man, I'm nervous for season 2. And
Yeah.
I think it's just where I see this going and growing, and what I feel like, y'all. What's about to happen with this is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
And we want y'all for the ride. Like, get on early and invite people on the ride,
Absolutely.
because I know people love to say, I was there when. Everybody likes to be a day one. This, if you're just getting on, you're a day two, but still, you know, but
Right. It's still early though. It's
it's
still
still
early.
early. It's
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
early, and you're still welcome. We want everybody getting on this ride, because it's going to be fun,
Yeah.
right? It's going to be a lot of work,
Mhm.
but it's going to be fun. And I got this drive in me right now that's just crazy, so I
I'm
don't know.
excited. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
But we are about to move into our final thoughts
Ta-da.
um for the week. And yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to hold back because we got a whole season to go, and it's just so much to say. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, I'll keep mine, short and sweet. I am excited to be back, plugged in, at least where you can see me, with my best friend. We've never unplugged, but it's great to
Mhm.
be plugged back in here, doing these episodes, having this clear focus, right? We did a lot that was fun for us, and I think it was natural for us in those conversations. And so now we are having real grown up conversations and bringing them here. And to his point, there's a level of vulnerability, because we can't ask you to join us on a journey that we're not willing to take. And so to even say, wow, there are going to be some things about our lives and our experiences that we'll be sharing that maybe we haven't shared before, or not in this way. And so that's something to look forward to, that we are growing in the same way that we are inviting you to grow. Like, I never want to be in a place of like just telling people what to do. It's like, hey, we're all figuring this out, and community is the best way to do that. In my careers, I've always really leaned on the power of community. Becoming an entrepreneur, like, there's not much that I have done by myself. And even if I've developed something on my own, I'm generally looking for someone or someones to bring along the journey. When I decided to, change my lifestyle and go low carb keto, I was like, okay, I'm going to write this book. I'm going to start a group, and I'm going to invite all these people, right? Like, there were just some things that are, I would say, easier, even if it's not easy. It's
Mhm.
easier when you have someone along the ride with you, which is one of the most beautiful blessings about marriage, that I can know that even though life is lifing, and it will continue to do so, that I have somebody to go through that with. And I have friends, I have family members, but it's a different type of partnership and experience to have somebody with you day to day, all day, around the clock. You can't hide, you can't leave, you can't, I mean, I guess you can try, but if you're doing this thing the way it's supposed to, that you have that person that sees all of you, you get to see all of them, and you still choose, right, to partner together and do life together. And so that's what we are creating here, that space, safe space for everyone, men and women, to come
Mhm.
and talk about the things that are going on in your lives, to hear the things that are going on in our lives, and to meet at the crossroads, get an understanding, take away some new thoughts, some new ideas, and then put them into practice in our lives. So shout out to the day one Roadies and RoadDawgs, and welcome to the day twos.
um, my final thoughts are just get excited. Get excited, not just about this. I want y'all to get excited about the crossroads and come along the journey, but we want you to get excited about your life. Get excited about the things that God is working on in you.
Yeah.
Get excited about the visions that He's birthing in you. Pay attention to it. Give it, give it attention. Give it time. Nurture it. Right. Um, get excited that you have the the ability to do it. That's why God gave it to you. You know, get excited that it's going to be scary. You know, roller coasters are scary, but you get excited to get on it. You know what I mean? Get excited about the uncertainty. Get excited about the discomfort of it. Right? Get excited of not knowing what's to come, but um, the anticipation. Get excited about it. Right? Because that's what this thing is about, and it doesn't always feel fun. It's not always, but get over your feelings, right? Because feelings are fleeting and they change all the time. Your emotions change all the time, right? Feelings are not facts. And Dre and I did not know the first thing about podcasting when we started. We just decided to do a podcast, and we've learned so much along the way, and we're still learning. We are not here from a perspective of arrival. We are here from a perspective of journeying, right? We have not reached the destination. We are realizing constantly, daily, the vision, right? And so what we set out to do, who knew 4 years later that y'all will be here? You know, we've got people that's faithful listeners, right? And we're so grateful for that. um and share this so other people can get excited with us. You know what I'm saying? Get excited about what you're about to learn here. Get excited about what you're going to share with us that we can learn, and we can share that we learned it. You know what I mean? Get excited about the growth. Get excited about the stories that you're going to share with us, your victories and your triumphs. Get excited, right? Life can be exciting, but you have to choose that, right? I just shared a quote that God gave me, and I'm going to record a video on that. Um, Pretty much, not pretty much, but it's saying that your life is not conspiring against you, right? Your life, God, the universe, all of it, it is not conspiring against you, but it's partnering with your thoughts and obeying your mind's commands. So, what are you commanding this life to do? What are you commanding this body to do? Right? And if you're not commanding it for prosperity, if you're not commanding it for wealth, if you're not commanding it for victory, get excited and change that trajectory, right? It's yours.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's my message. Get excited.
Excited. Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Right. You're making me think about this clip I just saw. Dang it, what's the name of this show? I got a Louder Milk. That's what it was. I was watching it, like,
Oh, okay.
and it was a scene. I guess he went to Starbucks or a coffee shop, and the girl that was working, as a white girl, she was like talking like the. And he was like, "Why do you talk like that?" Such a. She's like, "Why are you being like that? Like, this is my voice." Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I was like, the little bit I haven't seen a lot of the show, but the little bit that I did see, was funny. But if y'all want our reviews, for sure,
Mm.
y'all need to become members, because we are going to be giving our commentary in our cinematic reviews, right?
Yes, that's gonna be
And
so fun.
listen, and I'm gonna tell you what's coming. You know what? I'm gonna just say this. You heard it first, right here. We are going to be reviewing next month, season 2 of House of the Dragon.
That means this episode definitely has to come out before then.
Well, I mean, but they might not be in the membership section yet, so it'll be
Oh, that's good.
there,
Ha ha
right?
ha. Yeah.
So whenever this airs, just know in the member section, House of the
We're
Dragon
going. is being
It's gonna be
reviewed.
right. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm so excited.
it's gonna be.
So
This is
excited.
going to be aired during season 2 of House of the Dragon at some
Right.
point. So
Yes.
whenever we start, it's So if you haven't seen Game of Thrones, catch up. If you need to review it, you have time.
Ooh, child.
If you haven't
Get
reviewed,
down on it.
if you haven't reviewed season 1 of House of the Dragon, you have time to do that. I'm gonna go into my 3rd run of House of the Dragon season 1. I am ashamed to say how many times I've seen Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah,
But
I definitely have to review season 1 again because it's been a while. But I'm excited. I'm definitely excited about that.
So make sure y'all go to our Bitly so y'all can keep up. When we drop the membership announcement, y'all are going to be the first to know. Y'all, again, we are growing and I'm excited. We want y'all to get excited. But before that, make sure that you subscribe. For those who are watching us on YouTube, go ahead, scroll down, click the subscribe button. Make sure you like and subscribe and click the notification so you can know when we're dropping new episodes. For those who are listening to us on our audio platforms, go over to YouTube, youtube.com/Crossroads, and make sure you subscribe. Right? Subscribe on there too, and subscribe.
Right. Everywhere you can.
Everywhere you can, y'all. Y'all, welcome back. It's been a great first episode back. The next episode, we're diving right in, y'all. We diving right in. And so
this is your tutorial. This is your
this is your intro to the ride. So until next time, y'all, we love y'all, we thank y'all, and in closing, always remember,
be free to be you.
See y'all next time.
Bye.
This has been the Crossroads Podcast. And remember, be free to be